How strange. Now? Oh, yeah. Mic audio is doing a thing, but you can't hear you. How about um, how about now? Can you hear? Start talk now and see what happens.
Okay. Nope. There it is. I heard me.
Okay. Well, then theoretically, uh, we can
Okay.
hear each other, but weirdly only sometimes.
No, it came out. It started repeating it like in an echo, so it's working now. Echo, so it was like I'll go back into the app and recheck it.
No, I see that our talk lines are actually working now. So,
Okay.
for
Yeah,
those of
we're
you who
good.
couldn't hear us earlier, hopefully you can hear us now. I don't know why you couldn't hear us earlier, but welcome to Tavern Talk episode 3. We are birthing some brain babies this evening. I am Ben, also known as Meta Mongoose, over on the Crit Cats Discord, and with me today is Sasha, who is going to help us uh, make some characters. We have a collection of character ideas, some concepts that we had kind of worked on while we were kind of doing the character background generator in episode 1. And we're going to show you how to kind of coalesce that information into a actual character sheet. So, uh, with that in mind, let me just set the backdrop away so you can kind of see our backgrounds that we're working with. Um, those of you watching at home can see on the main screen. The first one will be Sasha's character. The deal we have for her that we had worked out was that her character had come from a family of healers of some kind of uh, doctoral or um, medicinal background, or even priestly or divine healing. Unclear exactly what that means. That she has definitely got access to an older sister, which is less important for character creation and more a plot hook for the DM at a later time. Her family was ruined financially by a rival of some kind, and turned to a life of crime. Swindling is what they went with. Maybe some kind of snake oil healing, unlicensed healing, who knows. And at some point, Sasha's character had joined a thieves guild
Yep.
temporarily.
Yep.
Um, did a good enough job at the swindling for the thieves guild that the government got a hold of her and attempted to hire her to spy on somebody of
Yep.
importance. Unfortunately, Sasha's character had fallen in love with the target and had to flee for whatever, because she told them, came clean to her love, and then that didn't go over very well, so she had to flee. Whether or not that particular paramour was mad about this spying, or it was just a family thing where like the family got pissed about it and chased her off, unknown.
Not sure.
But while running, she was waylaid by a wizard who basically acquired her and forced her to do menial cleanup tasks.
I
and
got
stuff
to
like
be
that
a
around the
wizard's
tower,
maid. Got to be a
where
wizard's maid.
whereby Sasha had accidentally released a demon and then fled the tower while the wizard was confronting the demon.
Yep.
Um, in her flight, was captured and enslaved again, but managed to escape and run away, and is currently in hiding from all of the
Everyone.
above. The
Everyone.
target's family, the wizard, maybe even the demon, maybe even the last group of people who captured and enslaved her. So, with that kind of background in mind, uh, Sasha, is there a particular way you want to approach this character in a character building sense?
So like
Um,
class and
let's
race.
here we'll go through the D&D Beyond character builder because it has a flow of doing this, and we'll see
Right,
if we can
right,
answer some of the questions while we're going through it in that regard.
right.
So let me switch over to the character builder. There we go. And the first thing it would like, though I don't agree particularly with this because it's always usually the last thing people have in mind. But does your character have a name?
I think I said I was gonna come up with a name. Let's see. We'll go with I don't know, something. I guess I would say simple. We'll go with Giselle.
Giselle?
Yeah, Giselle.
All right. We're going to kind of stick with mostly normal content we have access to. Let's see. We don't need any particular optional features. Normal milestone, normal fixed hit points. We're going to allow for feats because that's a thing. All the normal stuff. We'll deal with encumbrance and all that later. So having at least acquired a name, the next most important thing we need to do is select a race for your character. Now we have lots of options, as they have printed many. We have the Aarakocra, which are the bird folk, your Aasimars, which are your kind of opposites of tieflings, your divine touched folk, various Ganasis, your airs, your fires, your waters, your earths, various collections of elves, bugbears, centaurs, changelings, gnomes, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there a particular race that you had in mind? Thinking of kind of where your family came from and all of the things your character would have gotten into. Is there a particular race that strikes your fancy?
I'm not. I'm not sure on that one, because this is technically like we're building in like what 5?
Hmm.
Are we technically like building in 3.5?
We're building in fifth ed.
Okay, okay. Um, so my first instinct when I made this character was like goblin or something along the lines that has more chaotic type of personality. Um, but I think I won't immediately go for that, and I think instead I will go a half elf.
A half elf.
Yes.
That seems pretty solid. All right. We'll choose your half elf. All right. Now, where do you want to put your 2 ability bumps? You've got Your charisma is increased by 2, but you get 2 other ability scores bumped by 1. So she's a little more charismatic than your average person, or at least racially, she's got a little extra oomph.
So, how much was it to?
2 to the charisma score, and
Yeah,
then
yeah. I
2
kind of want that.
plus 1s to any other 2 scores.
Let's go with Let's go with Dex and Con.
Okay.
For the simple fact of obviously have to be quick enough to get out of where I was, being trapped everywhere, and obviously being hardy enough to have to endure everything because the wisdom and the intelligence did make some good decisions there. I'd say average.
So a more little bit of a little physicality, more tough, more dexterous, kind of relies on the charisma to get by instead of like actual reasoning.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, you get as a half elf, you get some skill versatility. So you get a proficiency in 2 skills of your choice. Those being acrobatics, animal handling, arcana, athletics, deception, history, insight, intimidation, investigation, medicine, nature, perception, performance, persuasion, religion, sleight of hand, stealth, and survival.
I picked 2 of them.
Yes. Now, family background, you're from a family of healers. Now, whether you as a person actually, learned at your parents', behest or not, unknown. And you did spend some time with a wizard.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, I'm kind of stuck because it's either going to be, like, deception and medicine, or it would be, like, deception and art. So I can't decide if I want to. Because it's like, yeah, I totally know medicine. I know what I'm talking about. But I'm going to give you this thing so I can kind of get more money out of you. Like, true doctor tactics. So there's that, or just well, I know magic, so I kind of know. Yes, not really, but I'm gonna fake it anyways. So I think we'll go ahead and do deception and.
You want to see deception and medicine?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay. So you get proficiency in deception and proficiency in medicine, which, like you said, kind of accounts for your family's healing background and minor swindling background as well.
That's how it would get me noticed, at least.
Now, being a half-elf, you, of course, can speak, read, and write your commons, your elvish, but you get 1 extra language of your choosing.
How many languages am I choosing?
1. And this could have been picked up in a lot. Now, obviously, because you spent some time with like a thieves guild, if you decide to go in like a more roguish sense later, you'll obviously get thieves' cant that way. That's not a language you can actually pick from the languages list.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
You don't have to worry about that. But are there? So obviously you're a half elf, so you've definitely dealt with people who speak Common and people who speak Elvish. But is there like you did spend some time maybe talking to a demon? There's 2 different demon languages to play with.
I was thinking about the demon languages. I really was, which is what, infernal
or abyssal, depending on what kind of demon or devil you want to say you managed to acquire knowledge of while hanging out with the wizard, or if there's like some other, you spent some time with other people as well. You may have picked up other languages somehow. So
Isn't there so like isn't there a warlock pact that has
Warlock pact that has what?
demon?
Oh yeah,
Like
there's a demon pact warlock.
say there should be a demon pact one, but I think there's
Or
a
an
devil one
infernal
too.
pact is what it's called, but yes.
Yeah, because I think I will do that one.
Okay, so
So I
you want to
think
do
I will
you want to
do
learn infernal?
infernal. Yeah, we'll
Okay.
do infernal. Because
Oh,
it just that's kind of what it makes me think of. I'm like, man, the like I ran into it and I still imagine that it's just a whole conversation between me and the demon and the wizard's like, what is going on? And the demon's like, not now. The adults are talking.
right. I'm making a deal with this servant of yours. All right. Well, having picked a language, we now get to choose a class, and you were interested in the warlock class.
Yes, I think that would be perfect for this character.
All right. The warlock class, of course, comes with all kinds of goodies. Importantly, though, it cares about charisma, which you get a +2 bump on anyway. So that's good. And later you'll get to pick. Right now you'll get to pick all kinds of things. So first and foremost, you get 2 warlock skill proficiencies. Your choice of Arcana, History, Intimidation, Investigation, Nature, or Religion.
I pick
2.
I already did medicine and deception.
Yes.
I want to say persuasion.
Persuasion is not on this list.
Oh, not on that list.
No,
Okay.
you'll probably
It's
get
on the other
persuasion
one.
when you
It's
do
fine.
like your background later.
Yeah, that's fine.
But
That's
Arcana, History, Intimidation, Investigation, Nature, and Religion.
Arcana. Definitely Arcana. That's definitely one of them. And then the other one. History.
History. Okay. Some book learning. Now you get to choose your otherworldly patron, and you are interested in a fiend patron of some kind.
Yes. Yeah. It makes sense where like that final straw is just the
All right, that gets you access to
devil.
some various fiend pact magic.
Yeah.
Gives you access to some fun new spells. Importantly, you'll get to eventually cast Fireball, which is the spell that everyone likes to have, for obvious reasons.
Yes.
But at first level, you get to pick up Burning Hands and Command for free.
Yeah.
And you also get a Dark One's Blessing. So starting at first level, when you reduce a hostile creature to 0 hit points, you get temporary hit points equal to your Charisma modifier plus your Warlock level. So you get bonuses for sending souls home to daddy, I guess.
And that's kind of the deal, and it's more like I kind of got scared into it, so I just kind of do it.
Now you do get 2 cantrips and 2 first level spells starting out.
Yeah. Let's see, for the first cantrip, it is definitely going to be Eldritch Blast.
Right. The tried and true Warlock special. And then, depending on how fire you want to get, create bonfire still exists.
Or something like produce flame.
As does, green flame blade is a thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because then I'd have to figure out what packed boon I would
right.
pact.
But if if you since you're gonna get various fire-based stuff, just for existing already, um, there are other options like if you want like a utility cantrip like a mage hand or minor illusion or the
It
the
was
the
either gonna
catch-all
be
prestidigitation.
it was either gonna be mage hand or mending.
You actually do not get access to mending.
Oh, I must be thinking of I bet you I'm thinking of Pact of the Tome because you
Maybe.
have access, and I had one of my characters at one point. They had mending because you can have access to any like three of like the wizard
Yeah.
sorcerer.
So mage hand it is.
Yeah, we'll do mage hand.
Okay. And then you get 2 first level spells. Um, you already get. Hold on a second. You already get Burning Hands and Command for. Are on your spell list to choose. You don't get them for free, but you can choose them if you want. As opposed to any other normal warlock first level spell.
Well, right. We'll choose. I thought when you get those, like they don't count towards your.
It says they are on your list, and it looks like they are choosable here in the builder.
That could be me reading it wrong like the whole time.
That may
I'm
also
pretty
be
bad
true.
with that. That could be me reading stuff wrong the whole time, which has been a bad habit, but I try not to.
I know it works that way kind of for clerics, because they have access to all of the spells and they just pick and choose what they want every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have access to just a decent amount of stuff. If you want to keep on the fire theme, first level is their Hellish Rebuke is an option as a reaction when people hit you, or attack you. You can throw fire back at them. Burning Hands is also on your list. But you also have things like Command and Charm Person and Distort Value.
Hellish Rebuke and Witch Bolt.
Hellish Rebuke and Witch Bolt?
Yeah. Those are first level. Yeah. We'll go with those.
All right.
Those are both wonderful to have. Anyways.
All right. Well, now you have your known spells of Eldritch Blast, Mage Hand, Hellish Rebuke, and Witch Bolt. So looks like 3 combative spells and 1 kind of
useful
utility cantrip, which is always good to have.
At least someone isn't a sentient piece of bread that uses mage hand to carry it.
Correct. But anyway,
I have seen that around.
Yeah. So we're gonna generate ability scores now, and for this, I always like to go with the standard array. It's very simple to use. Everyone has access to the same stats, so no one has to worry about, well, one guy rolled really well and some people rolled really poorly and feel bad about it for the rest of the game because they feel outclassed by the people who either rolled really well or said they rolled really well, and no one wanted to argue with them about it for too long. So
true.
That means that you have 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8
and an 8
is your basic stat spread. Even numbers are your bonus bumps. So like a 14 plus 2 in your charisma would get you to 16, but a 15 plus 2 is 17, which wouldn't be any better than a 16. So arguably the 15 and the 13 would be good places to stick things you have a +1 in to even them out.
Yeah.
Maybe if you were going for an optimal build, but that's not really required here. Is there any particular Where would you like to stick? Let's start with the 15. Where do you want to stick it?
We'll put. We're gonna put the 15 in Dex
Okay.
because of how they've managed to just run away from everything. They have to be quick.
That that is true.
May not be smart, but has to be quick.
All right. And the 14?
We will put the 14 in charisma because obviously they've been able to talk people into things.
Okay. That gets you a solid +3 modifier in both Dex and Charisma starting out, so that's not bad. Then we have the 13.
We'll put the 13 in con because again, the same thing as the Dex. They had to be able to survive running away for long enough.
Okay. Then the 12.
And the 12.
That'll be your +1 bonus. You have strength, intelligence, and wisdom left.
We'll put it in intelligence.
Intelligence?
I feel like they're smarter than they are wiser.
Fair. And then the 10, which will be your +0 bonus.
Like, I don't want to give them that below average wisdom. Because it's like, like.
Or do you want to give them that below average
but
wisdom?
They're not that strong at the same time. Like
Right.
they're not really that like they're super agile, so they're not very strong. Oh, that's a tough one. Tough one to pick because it's like, oh, well, you know, they did all these stupid things. So, you know what? We'll put the 10 in strength.
The 10 in strength.
We'll do it. All of these poor decisions.
Okay. Well, I mean, you were enslaved a little while, and you spent some time in jail. Maybe you got sent to a work camp, kind of bulked you up a little bit, or at least toned you up a little bit.
Yeah.
So the 8 is going in the wisdom. Not a very a very wise warlock.
No.
not a very wise fiend-packed warlock.
Because the fiend is like, oh, you're stupid. I want you.
All right. Well, this is a pretty good stat spread. You've got, like I said, your two main stats that you care about pretty handled, and everything else is distributed in a way that, you know, will make for some fun role play in certain areas, or some surprises in others. So now
that's gonna be fun.
We get to move to the description, your background. So we have choices. Acolyte, you know, would be maybe a one for a healing, depending on if your family's more divine oriented. Charlatan, you've definitely done that. Criminal spy is an option that you can select.
I think that would be the best one. Criminal
it
spy
is.
out of all
I mean,
of
that's.
them.
I mean, that is one of the.
Spy.
that is one haunted one. If you regret any of your choices in life, I guess. You could probably pick. I don't know. You spend some time as maybe an urchin on the streets, maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, these are all. These and more exist. Sage, if you're someone who was studying a bunch, and it doesn't factor as much into your active background, but like, kind of explains why you know as much stuff as you do. These are all pretty solid options. So
yeah.
Is there any that excite you, or any other ones that may?
Well, for a while, I thought hermit, solely because that's kind of what they became from running away from everything. Um, but the other ones also work too. The charlatan works really well, and um, the criminal spy works really well.
Mm-hmm.
But they're like a failed criminal spy.
Right, right. You still have the skills. You just, got burned.
um,
You burned yourself.
burned yourself. You sent your own burn notice
Yeah.
to you. um, we'll go ahead and go with the criminal. That one, the one we just mentioned. That one. English is hard.
Okay, so the criminal spy.
Yeah.
All
We'll
right.
do the
Well,
criminal
you
spy.
automatically get stealth and your choice of any other proficiency. So if you wanted persuasion or perception or insight or any
How about
other
investigation?
investigation. Okay. And you automatically get thieves' tools. So you also get a gaming set of your choice: dice, dragon chess, playing cards, three dragon ante. I like how they keep throwing in three dragon ante, trying to make it a thing, but like literally nobody
Stop
uses.
trying to make fetch happen.
Right. It's like three dragon ante. You mean a playing card set? The thing right above it?
That's funny. um. Oh, this character. Um. Um. I don't know if they'd have any of those things. Um. I'm trying to think of how this character's personality would be besides like a pure ball of stress and anxiety. Always being paranoid, looking around the corner of like, are they here? Um,
I mean, it
so
could just
that's
be
why
a gaming set that you picked up. Uh,
we'll go with the gaming, like isn't there like
did you
dice
steal the
or
Wizard's
whatever?
Dragon Chest set on your way out? Like,
No, no. Okay, okay. We'll do that, but it's only because the demon patron was like, "Hey, take his chess set while you're at it. We'll play chess when we talk."
is this how you and the demon you and the demon played chess while the wizard was out, and this is the thing you took with you?
Yep. But like, I played it. It's mine. It was like, "No, it's mine," and my characters would be like, "I licked it, so it's mine."
Fair enough.
And the demon's like, "I like her."
All right. Well, at some point, because of your background, you did make friends with a reliable and trustworthy contact who kind
Yeah.
of liaisons yourself into a network of other criminals, which is always fun to have. A local friend,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But yeah, seems pretty solid for Giselle. Into the equipment section. Warlocks get some starting equipment. You can get a light crossbow or any simple weapon of your choosing.
Go with the light crossbow.
All right. Now, is Giselle a more component pouch kind of caster, or some kind of weird arcane focus, like a crystal or some other bit of uh, stuff? Now, I only ask this because how you became a spellcaster is pretty linked to your time with on in a wizard's tower, and wizards very very commonly, spell components are their jam. But you are not a wizard. You are a warlock, and your arcane focus may be something that your patron gave to you, like some kind of like coin or crystal or other
Yeah.
demony thing like an imp toe or something. I don't know. You just whatever devils hand out to
So
people. Um,
so I think I got it. Well, I like the idea of the coin. So we're gonna do this in a very similar fashion to what a lot of people know for a particular coin, where it's a two-sided coin, and one of the sides is marked out,
okay.
kind of like scratched out, but it's scratched out with like an insignia.
Okay. So it's been
So
marked. It's been marked by your patron.
yeah, and
Maybe with his fiery thumb, he just kind of like melted that whole side of the coin with
yeah,
like it's like you just put like a thumb press in it and swooshed,
yeah, yeah,
and just
yeah.
kind of like mushed the metal.
And for more fun, because of torment of this poor character, the character has to flip the coin in order to talk to the patron, and it has to land on the thumbprint. Ding! Damn it.
Sure. I mean, that's a little bit of flavor that could be kind of fun. Or she could, always be like rubbing her thumb in that smushed thumbprint to kind of focus her spell casting. All right. Does she have a scholar's pack or a dungeoneer's pack?
We'll go with a scholar's pack because of the wizard's tower.
Okay. More stuff that you stole from the wizard on the way out the door.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now you get leather armor, 2 daggers, and any simple weapon of your choosing. Those being daggers, clubs, great clubs, hand axes, javelins, light hammers, maces, quarterstaffs, sickles, spears, crossbows, which you already have, dart, short bow, sling, boomerang. Now, quarterstaff's on that list. You can steal a wizard staff while you're at it. You just
That's what
steal
I was
everything from this
thinking.
poor wizard.
That's what I was
Or you could just
thinking.
have any other
I,
particular.
I was thinking the staff. It's like was literally the spot where it's his travel pack. So like
You
I
just you
took
just
his
took his
staff and his scholar's pack.
you just he got home, set his scholars pack and his staff down, walked upstairs to see this mess, started fighting a demon. You ran down the stairs, grabbed his staff and scholars pack, and just ran off into the woods.
And the chess set.
Yeah, in the chess set. You just robbed him on the way
Demon.
out.
Yeah. Low key robbed him on the way out.
This poor wizard.
Run past the tavern owner. And the tavern owner's like, man, that person still, are you serious? Like, they're still running away from people? When will it end?
All right. Well, sure. His quarterstaff is now yours. Congratulations on your looting of a poor wizard's house. I say that, but he did
Hey,
literally kidnap you and make you
he
his
did
servant for
kidnap
a
and
while.
enslave
So,
me, okay?
he's not blameless. Good news though, as a criminal spy, your starting equipment is a crowbar, a set of dark common clothes, including a hood, and a pouch containing 15 gold.
That'll work.
Alright, so all that equipment is in your character. Let's mark some of these as being used and or worn so they show up on the character sheet. And now that we have effectively equipped your character, we'll show the folks at home what that looks like here in the D&D Beyonds. For some reason, it did not save her name, but her name is Giselle. So where it says hero with no name, we know that that's Giselle. The half-elf warlock who at one time was in a family of healers. The family ran into some hard times, did some swindling, got hired by the government to do some spying, fell in love. It did not go as she had planned.
Fell out of love.
Felt well. She did. Did you fall out of love, or were you just run off by the family?
Maybe just run off.
Maybe fell out of love. Maybe didn't.
Maybe the person that was like frustrated and angry, like, oh, how could you do this? But then it's like, but I still love her.
Right, and then on top of all of that, got kidnapped by a wizard, did some wizard work until such time as she accidentally summoned a demon. And then while the wizard was dealing with the demon, she stole his stuff and ran off. Was briefly captured again, but escaped with her stuff again, and is now effectively on the run. But no, it's a pretty good character sheet. Has some decent spells and such. Has a decent amount of equipment to keep you busy, and like I said, here on D&D Beyond, all of their features, traits, stuff are here in these little tabs. If you fill out, we did not fill out the description pretty heavily here, but there are options if you want to add like personality traits, ideals, bonds, flaws, stuff like that. If you're unsure about your character, that's a good kind of resource to maybe jog some mental creativity about what your character thinks and feels before you even get started. But yeah, no, this is a good first run at this, and like I said, it's very easy. Once this is all in, we could save this as a PDF, print it up. Sasha could take it into our we both go to the same local game store.
I'm so tempted. I'm so tempted to use this character if something happens to my Wednesday character in Cliff's game. I'm so tempted.
We play a Spelljammer game on Wednesdays. So you'd have to twist this slightly to be spacey, but it's doable. It's probably very doable.
It would be. I would absolutely do that. Cliff would find so much fun in this because he would love to have that kind of character for me.
Right. But yeah. So yeah, good news. This character is very easily saved. We can make a PDF of it, get it to you, and then you'll have it for the next time you wanna get going with a level 1 character, or if the game's a little higher, you can kind of level it up as needed. And get it going. So that's this particular character. Let's go to the next slot. Here, and we'll work on my character. Now,
yes.
To review, for those who haven't seen or were not paying attention earlier, for my character, the path to adventuring was a lot shorter, but I feel had a lot of opportunity hiding in it. So my character, the one I rolled on the background generator, raised by a magical beast.
Oh yeah, I do remember this
arguably
one.
Has 2 sisters, and we were unclear whether these sisters were the same race as my character, or if they were just more magical beasts that I was raised in the litter of and consider family.
Yeah.
But our home, our forest or valley or wherever it is outside that our cave areas, who knows what, was destroyed by a vampire. And I sought vengeance on this vampire for the loss of my family's ancestral homes, and went to his lair, which we determined was probably like a castle or dungeon with a dungeony thing underneath.
Yeah.
And I got lost in the maze of his underground lair cave dungeon, and I stumbled upon a demon lair, or that was working, a demon that was working with the vampire, some kind of infernal shrine or whatever that the vampire had underneath his castle. And while I was there, I stole a map, and that map is to something very important that either the demon or the wizard, or not the wizard, the demon or the vampire wanted.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where my adventure begins. Is I stole a map that, and I'm going to go get that thing that they want, and probably use it to defeat them, to complete my vengeance arc and restore the land of my mythical beast family back to them in some way, shape, or form. So naming conventions, interesting, because I was raised by a magical beast. So early on, I kind of think that we have to establish what magical beast raised me, so that we can decide if my character was old enough when the magical beast took them in, that they knew their own, like, racial name, like, is he a Ted or so, whatever, from the
Right.
human lands, and he knows that that's his name. Or was he so young that he didn't have a name or couldn't express that name, and the mythical beasts call him something in their animalistic language?
I was gonna say, are we gonna do like a almost Jungle Book here?
Well, that's what I was. Yeah, like, is this raised kind of almost as a baby? Now in D&D you can get away with stuff like that because mythical, magical beasts are intelligent creatures, and some of them have access to magic and can raise a child without, opposable thumbs. you know, uh, you're kind of like, so the unicorn raised you? How did that work exactly? You were a baby, and it is a horse. And you're like, well, it's a horse, but it also talks and has access to magic and can create food and,
Magic,
all the
bro.
things that babies need. So
Like every DM has done, whenever there is a plot hole, they just fix it with magic.
right, magic happened. And you can do that with a magical beast of some kind, even a dragon or other. But I don't want it. I don't want to be on that end of the spectrum. I don't want to be
Right,
like a
right.
dragon, because no dragon's gonna get kicked out of their home by a vampire. Like, that's silly. Even a vampire with like a demon backup isn't. I don't picture kicking a dragon. And why would a dragon keep a baby around? Like, that's just weird.
The only thing I can think of for that is like they made a promise to a human, and then that's it.
I mean, maybe,
That's
or yeah, or like some metallic dragon made a promise to some elf or human, or whatever.
Yeah, that and even
Uh,
then, like, it's very similar. There's one story that I always remember that kind of complements that with D&D is Cinderella. When she was not Cinderella, sorry, Sleeping Beauty. She was raised by 3 fairies who have no idea how to take care of a human child. So, she managed to be accomplished to do that, which in wonderful other movie, fairies didn't really do anything. Someone else who kind of helped take care of the child, but either way, you can do that kind of stuff in D&D, and it's fantastic.
So, a thing that interested me uh, is a creepy kind of cat monstrosity, the Gramishkas. They
Yeah.
are they're allergic to magic. They look kind of like weird skinned cats. Um, here,
Yeah, I remember that. I remember you showed that.
let me yeah, these things. They here, I'll throw them up on the window. They are they have opposable thumbs. Uh, they kind of they're like weird creepy cat monsters. They're little
Yeah.
monstrosities.
Yeah.
But maybe a collection of them took in this 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 child, this baby toddler
Yeah.
almost. Uh, Maybe they were going to eat it at some point,
And then they just got
and
attached.
decided against it, and raised this child into a young adult who and so again with that in mind, some kind of I like that maybe since these are magical creatures, maybe and a bigger, more adult one among them might be able to produce sounds that are kind of like common.
Yeah.
Like it can, you know, it can do that meow thing where it actually can speak. It's the Pokemon that can talk. Um,
Yes.
because they do imitate sounds of like whimpering children or wounded animals to coax in victims. So I like the idea that maybe one of them has become more awakened and has gained the ability
Yeah.
of speech and is kind of like riding herd over a small pack of them.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. I could see that. And then they just found the baby and decided not to eat it.
Yeah, I mean they were gonna, it's some, it's kind of like that. It kind of has a feel of like the Star Lord backstory, from
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like I'll probably every time he turns around, like they keep threatening to kill and eat him, you know. But
Or
really they
like
love him. But they do
or like
threaten to kill and eat him all the time.
or like one of the another Princess Bride movies. Good
Oh yeah,
job,
yeah.
Wesley. Good work.
I'll
Good
probably
work.
kill you in the morning.
Get some more. Most likely kill you in the morning.
Yeah.
Like it's true.
So with that in mind, a an interesting like guttural name like let's do Grishkar. Uh,
Grishkar or just like Gratch or like Gar or something like that.
yeah,
Something where it's hard for them to like pronounce like actual sounds.
yeah, like a very guttural name that is
Yeah.
hard for mouths to make. Non humanoid mouths to make.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, we're going to do the same deal. We're going to just kind of scroll down the list of all the normal stuff we've already selected that we're going to use normal content, none of the homebrew stuff that I've got on my account because that
Yeah.
would kind of throw things off.
It would a little
We're not
bit
going to really
because
mess with
homebrew
optional
is
class
great.
features at the moment. Um, basic encumbrance, modifiers where they belong, all that fun stuff. Um, and we're gonna pick a race. Now, when I considered this guy originally, you could very easily um, peg them as like a human or like even maybe even like a gnome because he's small. Like because these are
Yeah.
arguably tiny creatures. They're slightly bigger than cats.
Yeah.
Um, so something like a gnome would be probably especially since gnomes come with like a beast speech built in.
Yeah, that's true. They do.
Um, the forest gnomes, I believe, uh, come with speak with small beasts. And yes, these cats are magical creatures. They're not actually beasts, but
I
a
mean, would they be
DM,
considered magical beasts?
I'm sure a DM could be like, "No, we got you." Like in this one instance, we're good. So I think we're gonna go with forest gnome for Grishkar here, which gives him some dark vision, gnome cunning, gives him the ability to do the illusion cantrip, and of course speak with small beasts, which will be normal animals, and with the DM's approval, plus these weird cat things, but no other monstrosities.
Yeah. I think it would be just for that character, just those creatures.
Right. That's how I would do it. Now, here's the hard part. Picking a class. Now, the ones that immediately sprung to mind when we were talking about this backstory earlier was, Ranger's a dead giveaway because arguably I could incorporate my two sisters as like beast companions.
So I was thinking that when you
again,
said like
kind of pending DM approval, but honestly, they're not much more dangerous than any other beast companion that or familiar that various other people would come up with, and they would follow the normal beast companion rules, so they'd be kind of in line with that. But the Grimishkas have an interesting ability.
Yeah.
They are allergic to magic. So immediately after a creature within 30 feet of them casts a spell, they spontaneously react. So it rolls a d6. On a 1 and a 2, they create like a small magic field, and everyone in the area makes a con save or takes some force damage. Or they surge with magical energy and gain some hit points. Or the last option, they explode and die, and a swarm of them instantly appears in their space. They basically multiply into a swarm.
That sounds awful. Oh my god. These things are metal.
They are. I like them a lot. They're fun to use against, like, they're CR18 monsters, so you're just like, these don't seem so bad. And then your party starts casting spells, and things go crazy.
It reminds me of, what are those little creatures? Shock lizards.
Oh, yeah, similar.
I have seen a party die from shock lizard.
Yeah, so file that away for your D&D party later, Sasha. If you ever want to have a lot of fun, these are tiny monstrosities, and they have a fun little table you get to roll on once per day when somebody casts a spell around them.
Oh, that's good because I have spellcaster.
But anyway, so since they have that ability to potentially multiply into a swarm,
yeah,
I kind of think Swarm Druid could be fun. Now, granted, they wouldn't the swarm that I would create of them wouldn't continue to have that ability. It wouldn't even use the swarm stat block of that creature because they would follow the Swarm Druid's rules, but it would just be I could manifest a swarm of these little skin cat creatures.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, these are two very, I like the Ranger option. It has a much more cohesive feel to it. I exist. My two sisters still exist. We're going on me and my two creepy cats are going on a mission of vengeance on a vampire, and uh, we're gonna get our home back. But the swarm druid really leans in, so
Yes, it
um,
does. It's actually really good. It makes sense for the character to even be a druid in general,
right, because
being
I'm
raised by
just
these
raised
creatures.
amongst the
Yeah.
wilds. Like I said, both these very solid options. None of the other classes really spoke to me uh, in that way, but I think in the end, just for like a cohesive character, I'm gonna stick with ranger. Um,
Yeah. I could, well, that one will work too really
because then I
well.
get a favorite enemy, which would be undead for the vampire.
Yes. And you could
Um,
get the companions. Can't you do that with Ranger? Can you do that now?
do what?
Get beasties as companions. Companions as a ranger?
We'll find out.
I don't remember.
I
I am
mean,
so used to Pathfinder when it comes to
as a gnome,
companions.
I get beast speech anyway,
Right.
so I don't need it as a ranger particularly in that regard. But anyway, so I get 3 proficiencies um, for my ranger, and I like uh, we'll do animal handling because of course.
Yeah.
Probably I like stealth and survival over. I didn't want to go perception because it's in my background that I get lost really easily in dungeons. So, so I don't. I
Yeah,
don't.
that makes sense. Like, you don't want to do that for your character.
Right. I don't want him to be very perceptive early on,
Hey,
or at least have a proficiency in it.
my character
Um,
had nothing near any type of perception or observing kind of stuff because of the bad choices they
right.
made.
Um, but I do like that, because of the nature of the creatures that he has been raised by, he is stealthy and is good at survival skills. Um, they've taught him how to scrabble a living out of the world they live in.
Yeah.
For favorite enemy, we are 100% choosing undead. Um,
Yes.
Now, how often will that come up? I don't know. That's up to the DM. This is one of the problems with rangers. They kind of pigeonhole into a very specific, monster type, and they're really good in that regard. But that's okay. I'm Undead is very broad. That covers
So like
zombies. That covers
in a like
ghosts.
if a in a like a Strahd campaign,
Oh yeah, like
that would be a
definitely.
very good ranger.
Um, I know that as a stream group, we've discussed doing a Strahd campaign here in the future. It's on the list, and when that happens, if I get to partake in it, due to scheduling, if it falls within a time that I can go for, I'm 100% using this character, and we are a hundred
Yes.
percent saying that like Strahd was the vampire, that like wrecked his people's home.
Yes.
I'm filing this guy away for when we do Curse of Strahd.
I think my character could quite literally fit in so many different campaigns.
It could. Yours is very broad. Yours has a lot of appeal in various settings.
And I first thought for that character to be a goblin just because of the bad choices. And I'm like, or I could just have a character with bad wisdom,
Right.
bad choices. And I was like, I've never really made half elves because I don't care much for half elves. But this sounds kind of more like a half elf situation. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
yes.
So yeah. Where was I? Ah, yes. So I get to not only do I have I've chosen undead as my favorite enemy. I also get to choose a language, and I have also uh, acquired some knowledge. Spent some time near a demon, so I think I will grab Infernal as well. Um,
Yes. All
maybe
the
this maybe
Infernal.
this maybe the notes in this map are written in Infernal.
Maybe.
Or
Maybe, maybe.
maybe this isn't like a physical map. Maybe it is a relic, like a stone with a map carved into it, like all around it,
Yeah,
in like a
yeah.
design, and touching it imparted its knowledge into me, as well as the knowledge of the language to understand it, which is how I now know Infernal.
I am down for it.
So now he's got like this weird, maybe egg-shaped piece of like obsidian that has like these silvery carvings or ruby inlay carvings like all around it, and it's actually a map of some kind of a puzzle map in Infernal script and designs. And now he knows Infernal because he acquired it, and it imparted itself into him.
Oh man, these two characters being in the same party. I could see that this whenever this warlock has to talk to their patron in Infernal, your character just like, yeah, I understood every word you said. What?
How'd you
So
learn Infernal? Well, I had to study it for a while. How'd you learn? I touched a rock.
touched a rock. I had my demon touch my brain
Yeah,
and
I just
infuse it into my skull. Oh, I touched a rock. Is it that easy?
it turns out Infernal's real easy to learn. You just have to touch things or have things touch you.
That's great.
This is the
Oh,
conversations that can happen.
it's like the staples. It's
Yeah,
that easy.
right.
It's that easy.
All right. So now I am particularly familiar with one type of natural environment. Get a bunch of like cool bonuses for the party to hang out, and like no difficult terrain. We don't get to be lost except by magical means.
Yeah.
All the fun stuff. We can track stuff easier in this terrain. So we're gonna choose. I think. Man, might as well just choose forest. Forest is a solid, like a deep haunted forest. I
Yeah.
don't particularly. Yeah, I like deep haunted forest over like foreboding mountain or like cursed
Yeah,
swamp,
yeah.
because those are my other choices. I was thinking maybe mountain, maybe swamp, but I
I
like I
figured
like
whatever
forest.
the
I like
yeah, I
dark
figured
dark forest.
I figured whatever those dangerous kitty cats were from originally
Ah,
that it
yes,
was
the Grimishkas. So funny story about them. They are mistakes made by novice spellcasters creating that like spellcasters were like, I'm gonna make a thing alive, and then they did a real bad job, and that's how this monster came to be.
That's great because thankfully my character wasn't the one that did it.
So yeah, they're effectively like most weird monstrosities in D&D. They boils down to some wizards who didn't know what they were doing did it.
That's
Um,
funny because in some of my a little bit of my story with D&D has some of that where like wizards done messed up, yo. And like they messed up and they did things they weren't supposed to. And then they tried to fix it.
no, I like the little flavor text down here of Grimishkas have an unstable relationship with magic. Spells cast near a Grimishka might rebound onto those nearby or cause the monster to explode, its scaly chunks rapidly reforming into duplicate Grimishkas. This spontaneously created swarm can rapidly turn a single annoying Grimishka into a chittering magic reflective wave of teeth and claws.
Love it. Oh
So,
my god. Those are dangerous. Those are dangerous toe beans.
they can be. They can be. But anyway, so we're gonna. I think, like I said, I like Dark Forest as the home that we were kicked out of by the encroaching vampire and his demon partner. So we're gonna choose our
You know
standard
where my
array
brain went.
again. Let's see, where should I put things? I think we'll put the 15 in Dex because Rangers dexterous. I like to and also I hang out with a bunch of like weird scrabbly cats. So what is
Cats
more
are
dexterous than a weird cat?
right, and a weirder cat.
I think we'll put a 12 in intelligence. Because it looks like I've got my intelligence was my +2 and Dex was my +1 for the gnome.
Yeah.
Put a 14 in the wisdom side of things, because cunningly raised. And then maybe the 13 in Constitution because he's always grown up living outside, making do with what food he has. Tough upbringing. Maybe not very strong. This will be another like low strength character. Because he never really raised by a bunch of cats. Like you're not having to be terribly strong. You're having to be very fast and cunning when raised by cats. But also, like, we'll throw the charisma at a 10. He's weird. He can just as easily make people feel kind of weirded out by being there as they just ignore him because he's just odd looking.
He's odd looking, and like he tends to do what cats do, which is stare and judge.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't like him staring.
Which could either be creepy or if I roll poorly, like they just brush it off and don't care. But I think that's a fairly decent stat spread. Got
I would think so.
2 +2s and a +3. Con's not bad. Everything else is middling. I think I can work with that. So for his background, now I think what was it? Outlander? I think would be
that would be
probably a good one.
With picking because with an Outlander you usually have to pick a certain landscape, and so you could choose forest again.
Let's see what it lets me pick. So I automatically get proficiency in athletics and one other thing of my choosing. I'm gonna. I'll be boring. We'll do acrobatics on this one. It feels like a thing that you should have if you're raised by cat monsters.
I feel like acrobatics doesn't get enough love.
Well, the problem is, acrobatics tends, in most cases that I've noticed, tends to get too much love. Because people are very dex-based characters, so they're always looking for the dex skill to use instead of athletics, because no one's very strong. So everyone's like, can I acrobatics my way down the rope? And I'm like, no, you're climbing. That requires
Yeah.
that requires strength
Well, like that's just
before your
people trying to
arms give
like.
out.
That's like people trying to use the mechanic instead of the actual mechanic that the thing requires. Um, but like, there's not a lot of stuff that I've seen that make it where you have to do an acrobatics roll for this. Instead of someone going, "Hey, I can do this in like an acrobatic sense, so can I just do that?"
Right. No, I think the biggest issue that causes this is that there's not enough reason to move around a battlefield anymore. Um, back during the fourth ed era, where it was a lot more tactical combat with like actual minis on a map, moving around the battlefield gave you mechanical perks, like positioning yourself and stuff like that. So doing things that would have required an acrobatics move to safely move like in a weird way, or like swing on a chandelier over here, or roll through like a blade trap to get to the other side without, to get bonuses on dealing with the blade traps. These are all things that were available then that are less available now because everything's
Right.
more theater of the mind, and a lot of the combat is I run up to the monster, I fight the monster. Is the monster dead? Well, then I'm still here. I'm not moving. Um,
That's a lot of fighters, barbarians, and paladins.
right. There are some classes like your rogue classes, and in some instances even your rangers, especially like the scout rogue, which was one of the other options that I was considering for this character. If I was gonna kind of assume that all of my family members died or didn't come with me to on my vengeance trip, was they get a lot of movement around the battlefield that doesn't provoke attacks of opportunity, so they can position themselves better in certain ways, or like
Yeah.
kite monsters in ways that other classes can't really get away with without provoking attacks of opportunity.
Yeah.
So, in those instances with those classes, your acrobatics roll much more doable. It's just that most of the time people don't describe what they're doing and let the DM decide what it's going to be. They start like fishing for the acrobatics roll. They're like, I would like to
Yeah.
do this thing that's clearly
Like
acrobatics. Can I please roll
like
acrobatics?
yeah,
Instead of being like, I want to do this cool thing, and then the DM's like, oh yeah, that's obviously acrobatics. Roll it.
Max is the person that I know that does the I'm just gonna do the acrobatics thing. That's very clearly an acrobatics thing, and then I'll be like, yeah, you roll for your acrobatics then. I have been known to be the person to fish for that check because I'm never 100% sure. I'm like, is this an acrobatics check? Is it? I don't know if it's an acrobatics check, and I don't want to ask.
I mean, it's just one of those things. Now, hilariously enough, with my background of Outlander, I get a musical instrument. And I, like, looking down the list.
I am concerned.
Well, I mean, you've got your bagpipes, which I'm not doing because that's insane.
Funny at the same.
Bird pipes, which I think would be interesting, especially if they
Yeah.
were like made out of bird bones.
I mean, cat family,
Maybe,
bird bones would be
maybe.
quite often.
A drum, a dulcimer, flute, little hand drums, horns. I'm not doing a stringed instrument. That's a terrible idea. So no lyres, no lutes.
Yeah. I don't think that would work with the character.
Yeah, I like the idea of bird pipes though. Like little, almost like a panpipe or something like that, but like more tweedy, higher notes. Made
Yeah.
of actual
Made from
bird
birds.
bone.
Yes. I could see that happening. Made from like actual bird bones.
Now I get another language with my background. That's exciting. Um, So, what would be an interesting... Here. We could either go with primordial, which is, very naturey language, or, hear me out on this, we could just have it, and this would be like a sit down with the DM situation, but you could have it established that in world, Grimishkas actually have a vocal language, and it's Leonin.
Oh my god. So feline.
Yeah, like a feline tongue. And we'll just call it, and we'll just go with Leonin because that is a language spoke by cat people in the D&D universe.
It is absolutely a language. That is.
So I like, one of those, a Leonin language would allow me to make like weird cat talk noises, at my family, speaking their actual native tongue. Actually, I think I like that idea.
I do kind of like that one too. It's fun and it makes sense for the character to have that.
Right. Like the creatures can speak this language fluently, but if they wanted to try to speak common, it would be like a nasty guttural noise.
Yeah.
Okay. So Leonin it is. I now also speak that.
That reminds me, my character knows what common and when they technically know Elvish.
You know common and Elvish, and then infernal. So my character would know Gnomish, common, infernal, and Leonin. And arguably, whether I know Gnomish or not doesn't particularly matter, because unless we run into other gnomes, it'll never come up. So it'll be like I almost didn't know it, which makes sense for my character.
It makes sense that your character would have no idea. Makes sense.
Unless Gnomish is kind of like some kind of weird genetic language, like you don't know Gnomish, you just feel the language. It's like Welsh. If you're from there, you just feel it in your bones.
Just know it.
It's like, I know that warbling on a fundamental level.
Knowledge of the squiggly.
Yeah.
Just feel it. It's like wiggling in my brain. I just know how to talk. I just know how to say it.
Now, hilariously, this background does conflict slightly with my backstory a little, but maybe not. Yeah. But maybe not a lot. I get the Wanderer background feature, so I have an excellent memory for maps and geography, and can always recall the general layout of terrain, settlements, and other features around me, which is great. But I'm going to say that when it comes to actual the actual tunnels constructed in dungeons under buildings, he gets lost very easily because they do not comport to like natural design, which is what he's used to.
Right.
Like this whole man-made structure thing just really weirds him out.
Yeah. I would say that works.
So with that, we'll move to equipment. I got my choice of scale mail or leather. We're gonna go with leather, because that's what you get after you skin your meal. Leather.
Yeah, that's true.
And then my choice of 2 short swords or 2 simple melee weapons. I'm going to go with 2 short swords and say that they're basically leftovers from when my pack caught somebody in the woods or scavenged amongst like a caravan that was killed in the woods by some other monster. Then I have my choice of a Dungeoneer's pack or an Explorer's pack. We'll go with the Explorer's pack. That feels a little bit more on brand.
Yeah.
Not much of a Dungeoneer. Canonically, really bad at it. According to my background, not great at wandering around in dungeons. Gets lost easily. And then I also get a longbow, a staff, a hunting trap, a trophy from an animal that I have killed. That might be something I may want to talk to a DM over, based on the setting. If this trophy has any like real significance, or if it's like some kind of like, this is a piece of like the first animal that I was old enough to bring down on my own.
Right.
And the cat pack let me keep like a small part of it somehow, as kind of like a passing into, you can now be a hunter of our people, because you managed to actually kill something for real. Something that matters.
Like, you are now one of us.
Right. And then like a set of traveler's clothes. Again, I would immediately say that they look kind of like roughed up, like something that was taken off a corpse in the woods.
Yeah.
From like the same caravan that got, so it might have like blood on, like dried blood on it, and stained. I mean, I wore it while I was in the water. It probably washed out a little bit, but it's stained. It's got some slash marks in it. Some stab wounds that I don't sew up because I don't know how.
Right.
No one has taught me
though.
this finer craft of fixing clothing. So it looks like someone else's traveler's clothes that died wearing them. And then a pouch containing 10 more gold pieces. So we're going to add that starting equipment to my pile. Going to equip some of this stuff so that we can see what it looks like in the builder. View the character sheet. For some reason, it does not like to bring the name over. It says hero with no name again. How weird. But I know his name. Grishkar.
Yeah, Grishkar.
So Grishkar's got a lot going for him. Hilariously, he has a fun bonus that goes in line with the Grimishkas. He has advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws against magic because he's a gnome.
Yeah.
So he has that. He doesn't have a weird magic allergy, but he is as resistant to magic as the cat monsters are.
He's just as sensitive.
He's just as sensitive. So that's kind of fun. But yeah, decent stats on the long bow and short sword attacks. Pretty good skills. He's decent at acrobatics. Good at animal handling. Not so great at athletics because low strength. But good at stealth and survival, and kind of middling at basically everything else. Which is fine. You don't have to be great at everything. He's level 1, and he's going to join a party, and those people will cover for him on the things he doesn't do very well.
I know healing.
At the moment, only knows Minor Illusion as a spell, and will later, as he progresses in the Ranger track, pick up some more Ranger abilities. Like I said, I like. I gotta at some point figure out like with a DM uh, what my animal trophy is, because I'm sure that has like some kind of significance to him, and may just be some kind of weird thing that he wears
Yeah.
with him or keeps on him. Probably something gross. I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh,
what would you want to have as like that like trophy from an animal?
well, see, I'd want it to be something big, so like not something tiny, something at least small, something his size. And he's a small sized creature, so something of at least small or medium size. Um, it would really depend on what kind of animals also lived in the forest, or if these were animals or monster parts. Like if it was another monstrosity that was like encroaching on the Grimishka territory, and he killed it, would he keep part of it as a trophy? Um, and in that case, like we're dealing with maybe medium or even large size monsters, depending on uh, what may or may not have been that. But then again, if it's too big, like it'll become like a piece of his clothing. Like it's like if he killed like a wolf or like a dire wolf or like a crag cat or something. Like he'd obviously like wear its pelt, um, or something along those lines. Actually, a crag cat would be interesting. If the
Oh, those things are terrifying.
if like the forest kind of abutted onto like a mountainside, and that's where like the vampire's castle was, kind of like up in the mountain, and it was like slowly encroaching into these new lands in the forest, and like but the crag like he the crag cats wander down from the mountains into the forest to hunt on occasion, and it crossed paths with with Grishkar and his family, and Grishkar killed it, and now he kind of like wears its pelt or something.
Yeah.
Hilariously, they also have magic resistance, and their pelt, arguably, if appropriately tailored and used, could maybe be some kind of a magic armor later, or some kind of magic cloak later down the way that grants like some kind of spell reflective ability. That'd be like much later down the line if you went that path.
True.
So yeah, something like that maybe. uh I don't like many of the other like gross trophies, like if it was like a giant like a giant like swamp toad or something, and he like killed it and then like kept its dehydrated husk of an eye or something for whatever reason. Just something that's just weird. But that would, like I said, it would just depend on kind of how what the DM would be willing to play with.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think, yeah, it depends on the DM and depends on what their world is and what they would want to do.
but I like that idea for him. So anyway, that's Grishkar. He's currently a level 1 ranger. Uh, we will say that he has 2 Grimishka family members, sisters that
Yeah.
travel with him. Currently, since he's level 1, they're not helpful in the sense of like an animal companion. They're kind of just like travel companions that stay out of the way most of the time. But he can talk to them. they can, kind of communicate in common if they have to, but they speak a Leonin tongue that he can speak back in kind of the same way. So we got stuff like that. As he levels up and starts to get access to like beast companion powers, again that would be a conversation with the DM to allow the tiny Grimishka twins to kind of like tag team one beast. Instead of having like one big animal, he'd have like two tiny animals that are very creepy and mildly magically like allergic.
Sends them out and they just explode, and you're like, no, my companions, but please.
Well, I think
magic.
we would probably like axe that bottom one of the swarm part, and then just be like, on a 1 through 3, or like on a 1 or a 2, their magic allergy like does the reflective thing if somebody like targets them with a spell. On a 2 through 4, it negates it and they heal. On a 5 and 6, like nothing happens, or whatever. That's I as a DM I would be like, we're not going to let you start creating multiple swarms of like cat monsters on your animal. These are your animal companions. They have names. They're your sisters. We're going to keep them whole for as long as the adventure allows. We're not going to have them explode and create a whole new family.
Yeah.
Like we're not doing that. But no, I like the idea of having like a little pair of I keep thinking of like the Siamese cats from like Lady and the Tramp. Because they have that kind of look to them, that like creepy skin look.
Siamese.
Right. And I would like them to have that kind of personality. Like if I was like, trying to if a DM was the one kind of if my DM was like controlling them as characters when I'm not using them in like beast mode, I'd be like, you're familiar with how these cats worked in like the Disney movie, right? Just do that. Just do a lot of that.
That's great. Always causing trouble.
Right. But like in a fun way. They can cause trouble, but do it in a way that propels the story forward. Don't do it in a way that, I trust DMs to do that. Like, don't cause trouble that will inhibit the story. Cause trouble that propels the story forward.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah. So with that, we have made ourselves some characters. So just to review back what our backstories were originally, I'm up on the screen for anyone who has interest. But yeah, this was a fun little exercise. We got 2 characters made. Again, I am 100% banking mine for whenever I get my hands on a Curse of Strahd game, whether that be here on the stream later or if someone up at the shop decides they're interested. Fully expect to see Grishgar and his Grimishka twins, sisters, causing all kinds of havoc. That should be fun. And you have a new, we have birthed you a level 1 brain baby to do with what you will.
Yes.
I'll make sure you get that PDF so that you can use it to file away for later in case you at some point need a level 1 character and now have a full backstory and a full character just ready to go at a moment's notice.
I will definitely, if something happens to Sheila, then that character is instantly
You'd be like,
Instant.
you'd be like, Cliff, I have an idea.
I already have an idea. Like, I have it sitting here, all ready to go. Like, my character made mistakes and accidents. Sheila made all the mistakes. But now we're going to have a character that's made all these mistakes and thrown in a patron on top of it. So, it's going to be great. And I know, since how he functions, he will love that.
Oh, yeah. He would. We don't have enough people playing with demons in the party.
Yes.
I always.
I think my character kind of has delved into one.
Right, but like on a constant basis of like I did enjoy when I was running when we had characters who were like, I'm a wizard and I like to summon demons, and I'm like, yes. Because then I get to come up with interesting demons, and they may have. I like to give my demons a little bit of extra flair when they interact with party. I like them having names, backstories, feels like objectives of their own that they're always trying to get in on the side. But yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this was our with this both characters made. This is our tavern talk of the evening. We've got two characters that we turned from just vague ideas that we had coalesced from a randomized game that we played in episode 1. If you haven't seen that episode, go watch it. It is amazing.
Yeah, I think I've been for all 3.
You have now, yeah. You're now 3. You're the
3.
only co-host that's currently 3 for 3.
Yay!
Thank you for being my ride or die on this.
You're welcome. This has been it's been great. I'm really glad that I even get to do this. So it's fun, and since we have that kind of schedule, I can work around.
But yeah, speaking of schedules, if you're new to watching this, we tend to crank out one of these about once a month. Generally speaking, we aim for the third Tuesday of a month. Last week we did have some production issues, which is why we pushed it back a week. But it seems like everything is working now. Hopefully, we'll see how it actually ends up later. If you're watching this on YouTube, we did everything correctly. If you're not, then well, you know how it went. But anyway, that should wrap us up for this particular tavern talk. We will see you all again next month. Again, third Tuesday is about when we tend to have these. We have various topics planned. We got to actually, I'm looking at about nine different topics lined up. We'll have the titles and topics in our Discord. Feel free to follow our links down below for access to our Discord if you want to come hang out with us, chat. If you're interested in coming up with some topics for us to talk about, we accept any and all topics of note that anyone suggests. We're always open to hearing what you all want to hear us, kind of discuss and go over. We're all good for that. Other than that, if you're watching this on YouTube later, you've already found our YouTube link. Congratulations. But otherwise, you can find us on Twitch while it's still Twitch, though it's going to be X here soon. It's going to be interesting to see, or Twitter. Yeah, Twitter. It's going to be interesting to see how Twitter does its Twitter thing now that it's changing over. But we have one of those accounts. We do things. We have Instagram accounts. We do things. It turns out either weekly, bi-weekly, bi-monthly. We haven't sorted out yet. We have a group who has just started up a Baldur's Gate 3 run. Four of our folk here at the Crit Cats are doing that. They just did their first one last Sunday, and that should be going up on YouTube. I know it's still on our Twitch VOD at the moment, so if you haven't had a chance to go check that out. I know they had some sound issues early on, and maybe some issues with like their voice coding on episode 1, but I but you can still hear the game play through pretty well. So if you want to kind of see how they got started, and it'll probably only go up in production value from there. So with all of that said, we had some sound issues early on, so you didn't catch when I threw out there. If you didn't, that if you have a Twitch Prime subscription and you're not using it, feel free to send it our way. It's free for you. It really helps us out, gives us a little bit more breathing room to add some new features and some new stuff. We get to pay our sound designers and our graphic designers. This particular frame that you see here was made by one of our wonderful graphic designers, Fia. She did a great job with it, and if you want to see more similar work, helping us get some funds to give them the time and the monies to do that would be great. But other than that, I'd like to thank you all for hanging out with us, and I'll see you all next month. So goodbye.
Bye.